This week's edition of Church Media Design TV is sponsored by the Gurus of Tech Conference and dansandcontoner.com. Welcome back to another edition of Church Media Design TV, tips, tricks, and how-to for you, the church media designer. Now, every week we come to you talking about how to use media to leverage God's kingdom, how to use media in ways that will help people come to know who He is. And my name's Brad Zimmerman, and join with me, as always, is the three wise men and Jesus. Now, we are here to help be a resource to you guys. We want to help you guys understand how to use this media, how to use different types of media for different situations, and how to do all of this to increase God's kingdom. So I really want to help you guys with this, and I really want to have a great conversation of how we can do this together, because none of us is smarter than the whole of us. So I'm really thankful that you guys could be a part of the show today. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about church marketing and what it really means to market different events in your church or different things that are going on, and how you can do it wrong and how you can do it right, and what you need to think about. So that and a whole lot more. I'm really excited about this week's inspiration because it's very inspirational to me. So if the three wise men and Jesus are ready, let's get into it. Well, this is something old and something news, and something old we're going to talk about today has a lot to do with web design, or our news this week has a lot to do with web design, and we're getting closer to the final. It's taken me a long time. I don't have a lot of time to work on it, but we're getting closer to having the new CMD website done, and so I wanted to give you guys some web design inspiration in case you're out there working on web design. So this is from Design Reviver, and this is 50 inspirational web design blogs. And so this has everything from A List Apart to Smashing Magazine and Nope and 6 Revisions and NetToot, Smashing Apps, CSS Tricks. There's a lot of them on there. So I want to encourage you guys to go check out this article. We'll have it listed on the website. You can subscribe to RSS feeds for all of these and pull them into your Google Reader, set up a little folder that's like web design, and then you can have all of those come into that folder and you can see them, and it just makes life a lot easier. So that's a great one. But one of the sites that I mentioned, this is our new story. This is from NetToots. Now, they were listed in those 50 websites, and they just had this great article that was 30 HTML best practices for beginners. Now, there's some really, really good stuff in here, and if you haven't been doing web design for a while, or you have some questions, this is some really, really good stuff. And there's just a lot of great tips in here, from always close your tags, to declare your doc type, to use Firebug, and the whole 9 yards. So you should definitely check out this 30 best practices article. I really, really enjoyed it. So check out NetToots. Ooh, I had a burp there. Check out NetToots and Design Reviver for their multi-number. We got 30 plus 50, 80 different tips or websites to check out for your something old and something news. Well, this week's inspiration is a bit more about church marketing, or it is about church marketing. Now, we're not going to have any fancy-dancy graphics or anything. You're kind of stuck looking at me for a while, and I'll try to make this as succinct as I possibly can, but this is very, very important. Now, in churches, or in whatever organization you're a part of, whether this is for your life group or for your church or whatever, the greater church, because we are the church, the body is the church, it's not a building or a place you show up to, we are doing events, we're putting things on, we have things that we need to promote, that we're talking about, and a lot of times we're missing the boat on how we're talking about things. Now, I've seen this play out lately at the church that I work at, and I've seen it also play out a lot of times at a lot of other churches. Now, what I'm talking about is mis-advertising. Now, you're not advertising to, this isn't mis-advertising like I misspelled a word or I put the wrong date on there, but it's advertising for the wrong thing. Now, you should say, well, hey Brad, we're doing a summer cookout, so I'm advertising for the summer cookout. And it's like, well, maybe you're misadvertising in that point. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Now, what I think misadvertising is an event and the people that you want to show up to the event and advertising not to those people. You're advertising the event, but you're not advertising towards your target audience. Now, you always need to have a target audience, target demographic. Now, this sounds wrong because the church should love everyone. The church should be for everyone. But in reality, you know that your church is a little bit more geared towards certain people. We just did a survey, and I think 67% of the people in our church are married and have kids in high school or younger. They have at least one student. So we are a church of younger families. Now, that might be true of a lot of churches, but that's who we are. And you look at the college demographic, we have like 10 out of 300. We don't have a very high college population. You look at the over 60, and we have like 10. We're not an older church. And so every church has a demographic. It's going to end up being that way, and you have to really see what that is and play towards it. You also have to look at that when it comes to events. Now, I know some of you guys are just tuning me out right now because you're like, that's wrong. And it's like, well, it might be wrong, but this is reality. The reality is your church is going to pull in certain types of people because of who you are and how you do things. You're not going to show up to a Catholic church that only sings out of a certain hymnal in Russian if you're not really geared towards that Orthodox kind of way of church. If you're a contemporary person who likes to hear Sandy Patty versus a person who doesn't want to wear nice clothes to church, they just want to show up in a t-shirt and they want to listen to rock music that's a lot harder than even Hillsong. You know, there's a lot of different churches out there, and so you need to know who your audience is. So you got to think about that, but now we have to think about the event we're putting on. So let's just take, for example, we did a mission fundraiser lately, and this mission fundraiser, we were doing car detailing. Now, what happened with this event in particular is they were fundraising and they wanted people to show up, but they knew they needed a lot of volunteers. So what they did is they started marketing towards volunteers. They actually even named the day after volunteers. Now, we as a church didn't, we as the staff team didn't put this on. This was a group of people from our church that put this on. These mission teams put this event on. And so they named the event after that day. They put a ton of time. They did an amazing job with this event. Don't get me wrong. It was really cool to see what happened. But a couple of the things that I started to see when this was going on is that, well, they were marketing towards people volunteering for the event. They weren't marketing towards people showing up to the event. Now, if it's a fundraiser, I think the biggest key is to make sure you have people show up who are going to give you money, because that's a fundraiser. Now, you do need to have people work there, and that is important. But the goal of the event is to have people come and be a part of it. Now, the other thing that happened is they were like, well, let's do all sorts of stuff. But they weren't really thinking about who are the people that are going to show up. This is a Saturday afternoon. Kids and their parents are going to show up together. And they put on a worship concert at night. And it was a good idea, and it turned out pretty well. But in the long run, it didn't really fit because, well, this event wasn't really geared towards these people. Like this part of the event wasn't geared towards these people. Parents and their kids didn't really want to show up on a Saturday night before Sunday morning and sing songs. We're not a very singy type of church. We sing, but it's just not something that everyone in our church is like, let's get in there and let's sing for 3 hours. It's not who we are. And so to put on this worship concert at night just didn't really feel right. I also, during all of this, I got an email from a girl who is raising money for biosand filters from International Aid, which is a local and international mission organization. And they have these water filtration units. Really cool. Make sure you check them out. The website is below. But really cool stuff, and she's doing a bake sale to raise money for it. And she said, hey, how should I raise money for this? And I'm like, well, are the people who are coming to your bake sale, do they care about what you're raising money for? Because if they don't care about raising money, then market the bake sale. Because what you want to market is there's great food for cheap. But if you have people coming who they just need an excuse to give you money, you're just going to kind of give them some in-between money or give them something in return for them donating money towards these water filters, then market the water filters. You have to decide, what do people care about? And so you really need to look at your target audience and then figure out what's the best way to market them. We're putting on we do these Sunday night gatherings called Ethos, and they're just kind of a get-together of our church and a community building time. Now, one of the problems is we've been marketing this as a meeting. Well, people don't want to show up to a meeting. Even though we have free food and it's just really relaxed and that kind of stuff, it comes across like it's this I got to sit and listen to this talk forever. That's not what it's about. And so we're trying to transition how we're talking about these things and marketing to the people who are going to show up, these families, these people who want to connect with others in the church. So we're trying to market it more as a connecting event, as a place for people to come to get to know more water markers, to get to know more people a part of our church. And so we're just trying to figure out what's the best way to get the end result out of these people. And so don't think about the event. Think about who's going to come to the event. What's the best way to get them there? Even with summer camp for students, what's the best way? It's not a lot of students. It's a week to get away from their parents, to go to a cool place, hear some great music, and to hang out with their friends. It's unfortunately the best way isn't to market them to say you're going to grow closer to Jesus, you're going to read your Bible every day, you're going to have this amazing spiritual experience. Those are totally amazing things that will happen, but that's not the way you market the event, because that's not going to get kids to sign up. And the goal really isn't to trick students into showing up to this event or trick anyone to show up. You really know that this is what these people need. They just don't know it yet. And so you have to help them understand that. So if you guys have any feedback, you disagree with me or you agree with me or you've seen this play out or you have any questions about an event that you're doing or something that you're marketing and it's just not going well, try to start thinking about these things. But also send me some feedback. Brad at ChurchMediaDesign.tv. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. It's always great getting feedback about whether or not you are seeing this stuff or if you're not seeing this stuff. So that's a little bit about church mismarketing and how we can mismarket to the wrong people or the wrong way about an event. Well, this week's inspiration comes from somebody that has been inspiring me as of late. And his name is JJ Abrams. Now, JJ Abrams is the director of the brand new Star Trek movie, which if you haven't seen, go watch it. I hate Star Trek. I will just say that straight up. I thought those movies were stupid. Star Wars rules, Star Trek drools, whole 9 yards. Dumb. I went and saw this movie because the trailers looked awesome and I was impressed. Now, there's still some stuff that I'm like, that's cheesy. Star Wars is still way cooler. But this movie was great, and you know why it was great? Because JJ Abrams made it. I'm not going to put this guy on too high of a pedestal because I know he's human, but this guy is smart and he knows what he's doing. My favorite TV show, I am going to just throw it out there right now, my favorite TV show of all time, it actually has beaten out Seinfeld for me, is Lost. Amazing show. Lost has Adam is just nodding his head, you're an idiot, because he hasn't really watched the show. And if you haven't watched the show from day 1 to day 5th year now, you need to watch it all the way through, and you need to watch every single episode, and you will see why this is an amazing show and why I got angry at the TV when it ended, because I wanted the next season to start in the fall and not after Christmas in 2010. I just can't wait that long. But the show is just great. And so JJ Abrams is a very, very smart guy. He's done some amazing work, and I wanted to point you guys towards a couple interviews. The first one is a brand new interview from fxguide.com. It's on their podcast, and they have a little bit on there. You can subscribe to it. You can watch it in HD or not, but he talks a lot about the Star Trek movie and some of those things. Now, really great interview, but the one that I really want you guys to go watch is the TED Talk. Now, this is an 18-minute talk. It's JJ Abrams, and he's talking about the mystery box. And let's just watch a clip real quick.
So one of the things that I bought at the magic store was this, Tannen's Mystery Magic Box. The premise behind the Mystery Magic Box was the following: $15, buys you $50 worth of magic, which is a savings. Now, I bought this decades ago, and I'm not kidding. If you look at this, you'll see it's never been opened. But I've had this forever. Now, I was looking at this, it was in my office, and as it always is on the shelf, and I was thinking, why have I not opened this? And why have I kept it? Because I'm not a pack rat, I don't keep everything, but for some reason I haven't opened this box. And I felt like there was a key to this somehow, in talking about something at TED that I haven't discussed before and bored people elsewhere. So I thought, maybe there's something with this. I started thinking about it, and there was this giant question mark. I love the design, for what it's worth, of this thing. And I started thinking, why haven't I opened it? And I realized that I haven't opened it because it represents something important to me. It represents my grandfather. Am I allowed to cry at TED? Because no, I'm not going to cry. But the thing is that it represents infinite possibility. It represents hope. It represents potential. And what I love about this box, and what I realized I sort of do in whatever it is that I do, is I find myself drawn to infinite possibility and that sense of potential. And I realized that mystery is the catalyst for imagination. Now, it's not the most groundbreaking idea, but when I started to think that maybe there are times when mystery is more important than knowledge, I started getting interested in this. And so I started thinking about Lost and the stuff that we do, and I realized, oh my God, like mystery boxes are everywhere in what I do. And how, in the creation of Lost, Damon Lindelof and I, who created the show with me, we were basically tasked with creating this series that we had very little time to do. We had 11 and a half weeks to write it, cast it, crew it, shoot it, cut it, post it, turn it in, 2-hour pilot. So it was not a lot of time. And that sense of possibility, what could this thing be? There was no time to develop it. I'm sure you're all familiar with those people who tell you what you can't do and what you should change. And there was no time for that, which is kind of amazing. And so we did the show, and for those of you who haven't seen it or don't know, I'm going to show you this one little clip from the pilot just to show you some stuff that we did. How many months pregnant are you?
I'm nearly 8 months.
And how far apart are they coming?
I don't know. A few just happened.
Hey! Get away! Now, 10 years ago, if we wanted to do that, we'd have to kill a stuntman. We'd actually...
Make sure you guys tune into the rest of that. I'll have a link on the website, but just search for TED Talks JJ Abrams. You'll find it really fast. But this is just an amazing talk. Watch the whole thing. It'll take you a little bit in the morning, but man, it'll blow your mind and you will love it. It's just great. And he talks a lot about story and talk about advertising like we were talking about earlier. Advertising has a lot to do with story, and he just talked about so much of how you hold people in, how you use that mystery box to hold people in, and how to bring people in. And man, if we could learn how to transition some of those ideas and philosophies into the church, I think we would see some really cool growth and some really cool things happen. So another just great place. So check that out. Check out Lost. Watch all the seasons. Watch them in a row. You'll like it a lot better. I think that's why a lot of people hated them when they were watching them every other week and they were catching an episode here and there. You just need to watch it all together. Watch that. Watch Star Trek. Watch Mission Impossible 3. The whole 9 yards. Great stuff. JJ Abrams. Be inspired. Well, we wanted to take some time and thank some of our sponsors, which is DansInkandToner.com. Now, Dan's Ink and Toner, as you've heard me talk about it every week, is wholesale ink and toner, or it is a leasing program, or they have full service programs. But basically, what's going to happen by the time you're done talking with Dan and figuring out what's right for your church, you're going to save probably about half, if not, well, probably not more, but up to half of your current cost on printing. Now, this is going to be through a new printer or through wholesale ink and toner, and all of this stuff you're going to get very fast. You're going to get taken care of well. Dan knows how to treat his customers, and that's why we promote it here on the show. And I know this is a great way for you guys to save money, because I know a lot of churches out there aren't doing so well in our economic times, especially in the state of Michigan where I'm from. And so this is a great way for you guys to save some money for your church. So head over to danzinkandtoner.com. You can sign up for the store and put in the promo code of ChurchMediaDesign. Let Dan know that I sent you. You'll get a 3-month free trial of the wholesale program or discounts on other things. So that would be great if you guys would check that out, because it's going to help you and it will help us here at the show. Now, the other thing you guys can do is mark off July 13th to the 15th on your calendar and come to Louisville, Kentucky. And it's going to be the Gurus of Tech conference. This is a totally free conference that you guys can check out. I'll be speaking. Barton Damer from RT Productions will be speaking. They got a guy, but all of these talks are going to be roundtable talks. The other guy is from Willow Creek. He's the weekend lighting designer. So this is everything. It's not just graphics. It's not just lighting. It's not just sound. It's all media. And the cool thing, it's going to be roundtable talks for all of these guys, for all of us, that we're all talking about this together. It's not just going to be one guy standing up there shooting the breeze. It's going to be us discussing together about how we can use media in the church. So I really want to encourage you guys to be a part of that Gurus event. You can go to the website and sign up. Make sure you sign up. You can come for free, but you need to sign up for the event so they know how many people are coming. So make sure to head over to gurusoftech.com/Louisville_event and sign up for the Gurus of Tech conference. So that's danzinkandtoner.com and gurusoftech.com. Well, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Church Media Design TV. Now, if you guys have just tuned into the show, make sure you go back through the archives, check out a lot of the other great episodes. We try to name the shows so you can understand what we're talking about in each one of the shows. There's a lot of great information, a lot of great freebies in the show notes. There's a lot of great links to websites that maybe you didn't know about, and I just can't cover them all every single week. I'll say one though, Journey Ed and Academic Superstore, where you can get nonprofit versions of the Adobe Suite. It's like $700 instead of like $1,400. Great deal, so go check those out. But I want to make sure you guys just go back and check out a lot of great links and great shows if you haven't checked them out. If you've been subscribing for a long time and from the beginning, thanks for tuning in, and make sure all of you guys tell a friend about the show so that we can get the word out so more people can understand how to use media appropriately to leverage God's kingdom, or to leverage media to increase God's kingdom. That's the way it goes. So if you guys have any questions or comments about how you hate Lost, or how you hate Star Trek, because there's a lot of people who fall into both of those boats, or how you want to understand how to not mismarket your church, please let me know. Email me, brad@ChurchMediaDesign.tv. I'd love to help understand and talk through and be a sound and listening board on a lot of these subjects and start great conversation. Also, make sure you guys sign up for the newsletter, ChurchMediaDesign.tv/subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, CMD.tv. Follow Adam on Twitter, AdamCMD.tv, and that would be great. So, as for me and 3 wise men in Jesus, we're saying, see you later.